It's time for the 1430 Connection on 1430 WNAV and 99.9 FM, spotlighting news, newsmakers, and important community issues. Now, with this week's edition of the 1430 Connection, here is WNAV news anchor Donna Cole.
Welcome to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. This is the third in a three-part series focusing on the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs. In the studio with me this week, Sharon Murphy. She's the director of the Charlotte Hall Veterans Home, and Chris Piscitelli, director of the Cemetery and Memorial Program. Thank you for joining me both.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so Sharon, director of the Charlotte Hall Veterans Home. Let's start with Charlotte Hall. Where is it?
Charlotte Hall is in Charlotte Hall, Maryland. That's St. Mary's County. It's about an hour and a half south of Annapolis.
How many veterans and their spouses are currently in the home?
We have a total bed capacity of 454. We have 286 nursing home beds and 168 assisted living beds. Our occupancy is about 90%. Male veterans, and the other is female. So our census today was 412.
And this is, interestingly enough, this wasn't always like this. The Secretary of Veterans, the Department of Veterans Affairs told me, you do allow spouses into Charlotte Hall.
Correct. Governor Ehrlich in 2007, I believe, passed legislation that allowed spouses to also be eligible for Charlotte Hall. So that means that if the veteran, male or female, was eligible, we have those that are not eligible because of their discharge, maybe dishonorable discharge. So as long as they're eligible, their spouse is eligible.
So honorable discharge or
Yes.
medical discharge, anything other than a dishonorable discharge.
Correct.
And at 90% capacity, why only 90%? You think this would be?
Well, our nursing home is at 100%. When I'm talking 90%, I mean both components, the nursing home and assisted living. We actually have a small waiting list for nursing home beds. Our assisted living portion is not at capacity. We're about 80%. That population is getting harder to admit to Charlotte Hall. A lot of those veterans have psychiatric needs, and we don't have on-site psychiatric help. And in a rural area like St. Mary's County, we just don't have access to the kind of care they need. So we're seeing empty beds right now.
Will that change in the future if it's something that is needed?
We're hoping. We're working with the VA. The VA is also seeing that type of veteran that has PTSD. We are into the Vietnam era with drug and alcohol abuse. So those kinds of issues are more prevalent in this veteran population we're seeing now.
All right. And tell me what assisted living means. I mean, I know kind of, sort of, but just break it down for me.
Assisted living, we would admit a veteran who was able to feed, clothe, wash, bathe themselves. A lot of them come in with a car and they're able to go out and drive. And we have a continuum of care, which means if that veteran declines, and most likely they will, then they would be eligible for a nursing home bed. We're seeing a lot of veterans with early onset dementia, and they may be able to feed, clothe, and dress themselves, but we would have to assess them for possibly our Wander Guard system, which means they would be alarmed, and if they got near an exit door, the alarm would go off. We don't want them out on the grounds. We're on 126 acres in the country, and we just don't need them out wandering in the facility property. So that's something we're seeing, dementia, early onset dementia.
Which follows with society in general.
Yes.
126 acres in St. Mary's County sounds like an ideal place to live.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. The campus was formerly the Charlotte Hall Military Academy, which was founded in 1776 and operated as a military academy until 1976, when the school closed its doors. The state of Maryland bought the property in 1979 for the purpose of a state veterans home, and we're the only state veterans home in Maryland. All states have a veterans home, including Puerto Rico.
Ours is the best.
Ours is the best.
Okay, so what are some of the activities and other things that people can expect of if they were to move into the Charlotte Hall Veterans Home?
We have on-site medical services, attending physicians, nurse practitioners. We have an on-site dental suite. We have an on-site pharmacy with farm techs, on-site beauty and barber shop, massage therapy. We have an on-site veteran service officer that's certified by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, and that person looks at each veteran when they come in to see if they're eligible for other VA benefits. And we have per diem. We're a grant program through the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, and what that means is for every veteran in the facility, the VA pays a portion toward your cost of care, a daily rate. Currently, it's $106.10 per day for nursing home veterans. For assisted living, it's $45.79 a day for that veteran.
So wait, there's a cost to the veteran?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There is a cost to the veteran unless they're in the nursing home and they spend down their assets and need to apply for medical assistance.
Okay.
So how we're different is that most of our veterans are, most of our residents are male. They have military training. But the benefit is there's a $3,000 plus savings a month for nursing home because the VA pays that per diem towards your cost of care.
How does that work? Like on what percentage? Is it 90% of the cost, or would you say 70%?
Well, the cost is about 40%, 30 to 40% towards your cost of care.
Is covered by the VA grant. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so then the veteran is left with the 60%.
Yes.
But it's still a lower price than what is out there and outside of the veterans world.
Absolutely. And for the veteran who we consider, or the VA considers a VP1, that's 70% or greater service connected. If you need nursing home care, that cost is covered by the VA,
Okay,
totally.
Hold that thought for a second, because we're going to take a short break. This is Donna Cole on the 1430 Connection. We will be right back. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. This is the third in a three-part series focusing on the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm talking to Sharon Murphy. She's the director of the Charlotte Hall Veterans Home, and Chris Piscitelli. He's the director of the Cemetery and Memorial Program. We're talking about Charlotte Hall. It's in St. Mary's County. It's a veterans home. I was always under the assumption, you served. This is a veterans home. It must be free. It's not free. But around 40% of the cost is taken care of by grants from the Department of Veterans Affairs at the national level. So that other part of the cost, the families do have to pay for. I asked you what is available to veterans, and you went through the list stuff
Services.
and the necessary stuff, the services. What about yoga? What about horseback riding?
Well, we have a robust volunteer activities program. We have bingo, we have ice cream socials, we have caterers come in and put on barbecues, crab feast. We had over 20,000 hours last year of volunteer service. So those volunteers come in and help with our programs. Horseback riding is offered at Greenwell State Park near Charlotte Hall. Horseback riding for vets. We have overnight camping trips. We have movie night under the stars. We have entertainment come in. We have dancers come in. Senior citizens come in with dance groups. We just had our senior prom where
awesome.
the residents dress up, the staff dress up, and it's a prom from high school.
That's awesome. So there's maybe some downtime, but enough activities to keep everyone busy for...
There's too much going on sometimes.
I
We're
like to
told.
hear that.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
good. Chris, turning the microphone to you, Director of the Cemetery and Memorial Program. Tell me what that means.
I oversee 5 state of Maryland veteran cemeteries throughout Maryland. We have one in Cheltenham, Maryland, which is Prince George's County. We have one in Crownsville, which is Anne Arundel County. We have one on the Eastern Shore, which is in Dorchester. We have one in Garrison Forest in Owings Mills. We also have Rocky Gap, which is in Allegheny County.
So if I'm a veteran and I live in Anne Arundel County, but I really like the Eastern Shore, can I be buried there?
Absolutely. There is no specific site for them. As long as they are eligible for our program, they are eligible for any of our 5 state cemeteries.
Okay. 5 cemeteries all across the state. How does this work? Do most
No.
veterans die and then their families say,
We have a pre-application program that you could come in to us or send in the paperwork, meaning your discharge papers and any with the residency, because we are basically the same as you need to have an honorable discharge to be eligible for our cemeteries. You also have to have either been a resident of Maryland for a period of 2 years or currently living here, or your home of record was Maryland on the discharge paperwork. That qualifies you for any of our state veteran cemeteries at that point. We would give you a letter back stating that you are qualified. We do not pick spaces, if you will. It's kind of first come, first serve. each of our sites currently probably has at least 60 years to not 100 years of ground left out. We are always looking to acquire more ground for the cemeteries to try and keep them open past 100 years.
Yeah, that's concerning.
Yeah, no, and again, we are constantly looking at acquiring new ground. We're looking at getting new ground for the Garrison Forest Veteran Cemetery. We're looking at getting more ground for the Crownsville site. The other sites currently do have enough for over 100 years worth of life. But again, the VA comes in. When they give us a grant, it's a 100% funded grant. There is no state money that is put out for these. It is covered from the federal VA. They come in, they put the infrastructure, they put everything in place for us to continually grow the cemeteries, if you will, in 10-year increments. So as we get to a point, we put in for a grant, we expand the cemeteries for another 10 years, and we continually make changes in how we do our processes, whether they're coming in and putting pre-placed crypts in for us or putting columbarium, because now we do have complete cemeteries that have for casketed burial space, in-ground cremated space, and columbarium.
Let's take a short break, and when we come back, are we looking ahead to more eco-friendly, sustainable ways of burial? This is Donna Cole. This is the 1430 Connection. We will be right back. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. This is Donna Cole talking to our two peeps from the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs. Chris Piscitelli is the director of the Cemetery and Memorial Program, and Sharon Murphy, the director of Charlotte Hall Veterans Home. Chris, before break, I just mentioned the possibility, will the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs consider eco-friendly, more sustainable ideas with burial, i.e. reef balls, tree root balls? You know, we're going towards running out of space. You're trying to avoid that happening.
They're always revamping how we do business, if you will. The VA can come in and we follow their guidelines and rules of how the cemeteries can be set up. So whether they are coming to us and saying we can have a scatter garden where we would have a memorial wall with a plaque with the individual's name on that, or we could have an ossuary, which is a large area where all the cremains would be put together in one space. Those type of things we currently do not have, but they could be considered in the future. They always are wanting to mark a veteran's grave, and part of when you consider a green burial or something like that, that's going in, like you say, in a root ball or something, but then there's no way to mark the grave, and the VA always wants to be able to mark the grave.
Okay.
And that's where some of that kind of comes into question of being a true green burial versus.
So that you said that some of this is happening now. The veteran may opt for a burial outside, and then you do put a marker inside a cemetery.
We could put a memorial marker in our cemeteries if they were to, again, go and have their ashes placed in a reef ball or somewhere else. They scatter their ashes in a separate place. Then they can come to us and we can have a memorial marker put in showing that the veteran is not actually interred in our site, but actually can have family come and remembrance.
Okay. Cost. This is not free to veterans and their families either. There is a cost.
There is a cost for the dependent or the spouse or the children. There is no cost for the veteran once they come to our cemeteries.
But prior to...
The funeral home's cost is subject with the veteran. Again, it's subject to the veteran whether they are 100% compensated for, whether they were killed in action. Those type of individuals, then there is no cost for them at the funeral home or things. But a general veteran that served 2, 4, 6 years, those individuals, yes, the burden of the funeral home costs are upon them for the veteran, for the family, but when they come to the cemetery, there is no cost for the burial of a veteran in our cemeteries.
Okay.
But there is a cost for the dependent. And currently, as of August the 15th, it's going to be $749. It's one flat fee, whether you are cremated or casketed. That covers the cost of the liner for an individual coming in that is casketed or cremated. It doesn't make a difference. It's one simple flat fee for them.
And is honor guard, is that a standard? Is that normal for everyone?
Yes, by law from the federal government that if a family requests honors for a veteran, they reach out to that branch of service. That branch of service is to provide a detail, if you will, of bringing 2 individuals to at least fold the flag and someone to play taps at that point.
You've also had some changes with those that are Jewish. Is there still a Jewish section?
we still have them in place, but we are no longer putting them into the expansions.
Right.
So the expansions are no longer allowed to have segregated sections.
Okay.
So what we have in place, we still will utilize, and we're not taking that away or anything like that, but whatever space is left, we will continue with those burials.
As an outsider looking in, your job to me seems not necessarily the happiest job in the world, but I'm sure you view it as a different...
Absolutely. I mean, we have these individuals that are coming to us. Yes, it is a sad occasion, but a lot of times they are coming to us with the grief and they want somebody to be able to listen to them. And that's a lot of what we end up doing. But a lot of family members that come to us, they come in on a daily basis. I have some individuals that come 3 times a day. I have some folks that come once a year, some folks that come once every 20 years. But again, they become part of our family a lot of times and are constantly coming into us, or they'll bring us food, they'll bring us cookies.
Aww.
You're having that conversation. And it is hard when that individual passes them because it's somebody you know.
Right.
Again, it becomes a little more difficult, but you kind of laugh. You say, well, you know, it is a place where your loved one has passed and they have family members coming to visit, but a lot of times a lot of people meet each other and kind of have that natural understanding of what's happened in their lives. I've actually known of 3 couples that have gotten married. They've met at the cemetery and their spouse was buried there, and they've met, and over time they've become maybe just out of companionship, but you know, they have gotten married.
There's no question you're doing an incredible thing and a great thing. It just seems to me, talking about finality of our lives, it's tough, and you do it every day. So thank you for doing that. There's another part of your job as well.
I have the 3 memorials that we oversee, or actually 4 now, actually. We have the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, we have the Korean War Memorial, which we actually just did a dedication for a time capsule. We have the World War II Memorial.
Right here, right up the street.
Right up the street, correct. And we also have the Gold Star Families Memorial.
Coming soon.
It is in place.
Oh, it is in place.
Yes,
Okay.
it is directly behind the World War II or the Governor Ritchie Overlook Memorial, and it is in place, and anybody can go visit that.
Are we looking at another memorial from Iraq, Afghanistan?
At this time, nobody has reached out to us to request anything along those lines. Again, that would take legislation to be able to put that in place and be able to, maintain that memorial. But again, until a group reaches out, basically, or the state, and says, okay, a congressman or senator or whatever wants to put one in place, correct?
We're seeing a tremendously long wait to get into Arlington. We don't have that in Maryland.
We do not. Most of our cemeteries, we do over 3,300 interments a year. We've been doing that probably for the past 8 years. We are one of the largest state veteran cemetery programs in the nation, but it does not, if you have all the documentation and you want to have the interment the next day, if we have the available space, we will complete that interment at that point.
Chris and Sharon, thank you very much for joining me today and doing what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This is Donna Cole. This is the 1430 Connection. We will see you next week.